Hey everyone, this is David. I am just still getting set up here. I was trying to do something fancy with my phone and it didn't work, so I'm not doing that. But let me just go ahead and drop the link to this because right now I'm just talking to myself. Drop the link into Discord, let folks know that I'm here. Discord wants to update, go figure. That's what I get for rebooting. All right, here we go. Okay, just put that there. Gonna also put it on Reddit really quick. Okay, getting set up here, almost ready. Hey, welcome. Just getting set up still. We'll be kicking things off in 1 minute. Save that. All right. Update sent in Discord and Reddit. It's probably about all I can do. And I had a viewer who went away, so that's great. I will talk to myself for a little while. Oh, it says that's not the right link. Hang on 1 second. I was not sending the right link. Okay, all right, now people are coming in. I sent the right link now. Thank you all for helping me out. I guess it doesn't do you any good to send you a link to YouTube Studio. It's always the high professionalism is what you can count on from this channel, always. All right, cool. People are coming in. Great. Welcome. Hello. This is so fun. I'm really happy that work is a bit quiet today, knock on wood, so I can hang out and do this. And that changes. Obviously, we'll end early, but so far so good. I think we'll probably be okay. But if I get distracted at any point during this time, answering a quick question for work, I hope you'll understand. So let's do this. Let's hang out. I have a list of questions to start with. First off, can you all hear me okay? Anyone? If you can just let me know in chat if the sound quality is fine, if there's any issues. As you know, I don't do this very often. Hopefully everything is good. Sounds good. Perfect. Great. I was trying to do something fancy with using my phone as a camera, and I got out a stand for it and set it all up, and then it didn't work. So I still have to learn to do that. But 1 step at a time. I'm just gonna pull up my my list of notes I was making for myself here. Where did that go? Okay, I have it on the screen. Cool. All right, friends. Well, let's dive in. So I asked folks in Discord first for any questions that they might have. I got a silly question, a fun question, and a question that maybe you really stop and think for a minute. So we'll go through all of those. And then if there's still time, if I don't just ramble on all of that for super long, have some other topics that I thought we could chat about. But feel free as we're talking to drop questions into chat. This is just our time, yours and mine right now. We have nowhere to go, nothing else to do, at least I don't. So happy to answer questions as they come up live. And we'll start off with a very great question from Echoes on Discord, which is, could Goku beat Verka in a fight? Okay. For anyone who's new to Planegea, Verka is a warlord who sort of starts out fairly low level and kind of can grow into this, world-threatening power. And for anyone who is unfamiliar with Goku, you need to watch Dragon Ball Z. And I'm saying that mostly to myself because I have actually never watched Dragon Ball Z. I know who Goku is because I'm on the internet and alive. But I had to do a little bit of research in order to answer this question well, which I know is probably pretty shocking. But I have an answer, or I have a set of answers. The first answer is it depends on if Goku is a PC or an NPC. And here's why. If Goku is an NPC, then my canonical answer is no, because it would suck to have an NPC come in and beat Verka and take that fun away from the party. So that's the first answer. If Goku, however, is a PC, if someone is playing as Goku, then the answer is yes, probably. But I think it depends on the relative power at the time of battle, right? Like max strength Goku can beat Verka pretty much at any level. You know, if it's young Goku versus super high level Verka, it's going to be a harder fight. But I think that the short answer is like yes. Verka is a human. Verka doesn't have supernatural powers aside from brilliance, intellect, time to prepare, defenses, all of that stuff. So my answer is Goku could beat Verka in a fight, but my bet is Verka would live to fight another day. That Verka would have an escape plan, a way of sort of like getting out of the situation, would create like a clone of himself or a backdoor in some way. I am positive that Goku could pummel Verka, but I am not sure that I'm fairly certain Verka would lose the fight, learn from the fight, and come back more of a threat than ever because that is his way. So really, you know, we are trying to hit, this is journalism. We're trying to do high quality journalism. Okay, so Wandering Swampy says, Goku would let Verka go so he could fight him again. Great. See, I need you all as the Dragon Ball experts to educate me. I believe you when you say that. Okay, member of our story team, the amazing Havoc, who basically runs our Discord and is just a fantastic human, asked, if you could pick a dino to be friends with and ride, what would it be? It's just such a good question. This is an important question, actually. And I had a knee-jerk reaction, which then I immediately started questioning. So my first thought, like as soon as the question was asked, Triceratops. I was like, a Triceratops would be awesome. It would be like, you know, riding like an 18-wheeler. It would be powerful. It could like bulldoze through obstacles. I'd feel really safe like riding behind the frill, something good to hold on to. And in my life, I love bison, and I feel like a Triceratops is like the bison of the dinosaur world. So that is kind of like the first answer that I had. And then I started thinking about it more, and I have a few more answers. One is I know that I would not want to befriend and ride a theropod. So no T-Rex, no you know, Utahraptor. Like I don't want to ride any of those guys. Even if I was sure they would not attack me, I just would be worried about what they would do to people who weren't their friends, and then I'm having to clean up that mess. So I do not want to befriend and ride any theropods. But did I use theropods right? You know what I mean. T-Rex kind of dinosaurs. I was thinking that a sauropod, though, would be super cool, like a brachiosaur, apatosaurus, that kind of thing. First off, just like, again, you feel pretty safe riding it. Lots of room to hang out up there. You know, you could go full Dire Grazelands and build like a tree house on its back to like to hang out on, a viewing platform. That'd be super cool. My Dinotopia brain was lighting up thinking about this. And also, of course, just like being able to go up on its head and then get that like massive view would be so cool. Problem with that is it's gonna just, it's so big. It's so big that like anytime I would try to, and it's slow, right? So any time I would try and ride it, I wouldn't go fast. The view would be amazing, but it would not be able to navigate well through the world. I live in a fairly densely settled place, and I was like, it would be cool. Like once, it would be cool on a trip, but I don't know if I would want that day to day. So my final answer, although, you know, the science might not bear me out here, but is Quetzalcoatlus. to ride, this is full like Dinotopia avatar, but to be able to ride on a flying, I know it's not a dinosaur, I know that, you know that, but we're gonna enter into circle of trust here and allow this to be part of the conversation. To be able to ride on one of those guys would be incredible. I could get where I want to go fast. It would be less disruptive on the ground. And it would just be badass. And although they are carnivores, and I might face some of the challenges of, of befriending a carnivore, somehow I feel like, I don't know, in my head, it's just like, it's going to be easier to keep that thing from eating people, because I can fly it to where cows are, or other, there are other ways of getting around that, I think, in my opinion. Plus, I don't have to like create a pen for it. Like I can fly away and fly back. There's a lot of reasons. I think this is the right answer. I feel pretty good about this answer after a little bit of reflection. Okay, good. Let me know in the comments which you would want to ride. I know Aronax is saying 100%, although that was originally to Triceratops, I think. So I don't know if it's 100% to Triceratops or 100% to Quetzalcoatlus. I don't know. Mythmaker says, my choice would have to be a throne carried by a swarm of Compsognathus. Yeah, that's also a very, very good choice. Cannot argue with that at all. Okay, so then Aronax, just Aronax here, Aronax97 on Discord, asked the following question, which, like, we've had a lot of fun here today, but let's bring it down for a minute and like really get reflective. Now that the book is out, the book being, oh, where is it? Do I happen to have a copy of this book? Oh my gosh, is it actually not in reach? That's hilarious. It's right there. It's over there. I should grab it. Now that the book is out, the Kickstarter finished and the rewards given, how do I feel about how Planegea was made? Anything I would do differently? It's a great question. Yes, I feel, well, let's start with like the big picture. I feel great. Like I feel so proud of it. So happy with the book that it is, with the resource it is. I'm happy with just all of the praise that's been heaped upon it. I'm really, really happy with the story team, with the team that like helped build the book. I'm so grateful to have found Finn and Adam and Dan and Zoe and oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Ava, Avalon. Can't believe I just blanked on a story team member's name. I deeply apologize. I just like the group that worked together to create that book. And then obviously the team at Atlas, primarily Justin Alexander, but like the whole team over there. I'm so grateful to everyone who was involved. Sorry, so I just looked at chat. It's always a mistake to look at chat. And I think that we all made something that we can be really, 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 really proud of. And I'm super proud of it. There are things that I would do differently, and things that I, upon reflection, have like, oh, that's a good lesson for me. I think that well, I'm going to consult my notes over here. One easy one. I wish that I had written stuff first before buying art. I think, when I was an indie creator, just like making something that was just a fan, like, a non-commercial project, grabbing art early days was really important for like helping people see the world that I was seeing. But then I just went and like prioritized licensing pre-made art because it was cheaper. And in retrospect, that meant that we didn't get as much sort of like art of Planegea itself quite as much as I'd wished. I think the art in the book is fantastic, and I'm so happy with all of our artists. But I do wish there was more sort of monster art and more NPC art, more art of the threats, more sort of lore-specific art, I think would have been really great. And that's just a lesson for me. Next time I would do the writing first and the art second. So that's one. I think that the next thing is, from the beginning, I set out to make it really feel like a 5e book. In fact, originally, my first version, I like copied all of the styles of a 5e book very closely before realizing like that would get me in huge trouble legally. So but I really wanted to feel very 5e. And so I studied 5e setting books. So I really looked a lot at Sword Coast Adventures Guide, looked at Eberron, Rising from the Last War, which is a fantastic book, um, and other 5e materials as a setting book, and like very closely drew from that organization and that approach as like what I needed to have in the book. I think it worked. I think it was fine. I'm not sad about it, but I do now, having looked at like materials from 3E and 4E and other independent settings and stuff, I wish that I had cast a wider net for asking like, what is a good setting book in general? And then and more third-party stuff, right? Like Drakenheim and other oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting it. But the Midgard campaign guide. Like I wish that I had looked a little bit wider and sort of like made sure I knew what the whole world of setting guides could look like to draw from ideas. There's nothing in particular I'm like, oh my gosh, that book did it amazingly, and if only I had done that. But there are individual like little things where, you know, like Electronic Bastionland, you know, for example, has like all this really cool stuff about journeys that would be great to have brought in, or just, I don't know, like small things. Like older editions had sort of like all these little crunchy numbers and stats that were kind of interesting. I don't know. I think I could have done better by casting a wider net of inspiration for the how to organize the material. I also wish I had just been able to go through and had like a really, I wish I had had like a harsh word count imposed on me to condense and collapse. I think sometimes it was kind of verbose and, you know, used 15 words when 5 would do. So I kind of wish I had like been made to cut stuff down. And in the future, I think it would be better if, not to remove content, but just to have sharper prose. I wish the writing was a little better in some places. In hindsight, knowing what we know now, I think the 2014 subclasses are going to feel dated more quickly than I thought. And so there's no way I could have known that then. So I don't regret that, but I just, you know, knowing what I know now, would I invest as much time as we did in classes and subclasses? Like probably not so much. Let's see what else. I don't speaking of like things that are changing in the new edition, the refresh 2024, backgrounds are changing a lot. Zero regrets for the backgrounds that are in the book. That was Justin Alexander at Atlas pushed for that. He was like, well, you need to write these backgrounds. I was like, great, I love it. And I did it, and I was so happy with it. And I think the backgrounds are awesome. Pat me on back here. Like I think that they just they really bring the world to life and make it super I don't know. They show off what the world is and what I want it to be in a way that I'm really pleased with. So yeah, no regrets there. Very, very, very happy about that. I just realized why I can't get this these questions on the screen I want them to be on, and I'm going to fix that if I can. But also, let me not. Actually, let's just keep going. Okay, so backgrounds, no regrets. Super happy about that. Would do it again. I don't know what that means for 2024 compatibility. Like if I was to release a conversion guide, I might say like, and here's a feat to go with it, but I'm not super worried about that. I feel like people can figure that stuff out. Let's see, what else? So there's a big one, I think. There came a moment in the process of making the book where I was just really, really tired. Like I was like fatigued. I had just been working on it so long and so nonstop. And I hit kind of a wall. And the plan had been for me to do like, I did the art and design, art direction design, and for the book, like to start with. But there came a point where I was like, guys, I'm crashing. I need support. You know, can you guys, I've set up all the styles. Can you, Atlas, go through and just like finish laying out the pages? And I regret that on a couple of levels. They did a great job. Like I'm not unhappy with anything that they did, but just like, I think that kind of caught them off guard. And I think I wish that I had sort of like not done that for their sake, because I know it caused a lot more work on their end, and just like it didn't have to. But B, I was at a conference, a design conference, and Aaron Draplin, who's a great American designer, graphic designer, was speaking about a book that he made. And he was just like, I designed every page because when am I ever going to get another chance to like design every page of my own book? And that just hit me really hard. I was just like, oh yeah, like I wish that I had, like, I wish that I had just labored over every page, made sure every pixel was perfect to my standards as like a creative director and designer. Again, no slam on Atlas. They did a beautiful job. I think the book in hand is great, but just like, I wish that I had taken a break, said like, I need a week off, and then came back to it with just sort of like some fresh energy to finish out the design. I think that would have been nice for them and for me. What else? I wish I'd included a campaign in the book, although that would have made it even more massive. But if I had done that tight editing and cut down extra words, I could have done it. But like even a campaign outline, I just think there's not really enough adventure material available for Planegea, and can be like a little bit hard for new players to know where to start. So I kind of wish that had been in there. I wish that this is a little one, but in looking at the book, Najaga, when I built the threats, they were intended to each have a different creature type associated with them. And you see that, right? It's like very clear that Deep Thought is constructs, and very clear that like Verka is humanoid and all that stuff. Najaga was intended to be connected with beasts specifically. And I wish that I had drawn that connection a lot stronger. And I think in future stuff about Najaga, I would really want to say that. Like the idea is that like, it's too easy to make him like another undead force. And he's the opposite of undeath. He is pro-death. And so I just wish that I had like really hit harder about like dinosaurs and carrion beasts and like bugs and all sorts of beasts being like under his I think in the book. Yeah, exactly. And chat, Wandering Swampy says, I thought he was Celestials and Undead. Exactly. Because I think that's how it's written. But just over time with more reflection, I'm like, nah, I just like, I think he would have been more distinct and interesting if he was like ravens and carnivores and bugs, and like there's all this like these like beasts of death and decay are sort of the thing here. I think that would have been like cool and primal and kind of different, and just made him not just like the god of death, which I think is kind of how he comes across in the book. I'm not unhappy with how he is, and I don't think I like would unwrite anything that's in there, but I think it's something I'd emphasize a lot more. What else? I guess one last thing is that and by the way, I will say on him that what I just said about the beast stuff is actually headcanon and is stuff that would arise in future books. So if you want to include that stuff in your game, you are very much like going canon if you go that direction. I guess the last thing is, in retrospect, I just wish I'd known. Planegea was tricky because it was my first RPG project with a publisher, really. Like I had worked with a publisher for my board game stuff before, but never for a TTRPG. And I think I just came in with not realizing how much start and stop there was in that process. Like you deliver stuff and you have to wait a while for them to read it and respond to it, because people are humans and like things take time. I wish I had realized like, oh, our the global infrastructure is fragile. Like, right? Like there will be shipping delays. We'll have to postpone the campaign. Stuff that I couldn't have known then, but I think I really kind of took it personally. Took it personally is the wrong way of saying it, but just like I experienced a lot of inner turmoil because of delays and setbacks, and it really like broke my momentum a bunch of times. And for me as a creator, I rely on momentum. I really need to like kind of get up to speed and keep going at a certain speed. And if I don't have that, it becomes very hard for me to sort of keep going. So I just wish I'd been a bit more prepared as a creator for the sort of start and stop nature of publishing an RPG. And I don't think that's specific to Atlas. I think I've worked with some other publishers now, and I just think that like that is kind of how it goes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just different than my expectations, and I think I experienced more turmoil and like unhappiness because of that than I really needed to. And I think now I would say, okay, cool, there are going to be those delays. There are going to be those moments where you just need to pause and wait, take a beat, like refresh yourself, work on other stuff, or don't work at all. Like, you know, get some more sleep or whatever. I think that would have been better for me. So some stuff on process, some stuff on content, but just like we're all learning, right? Like I'm learning. You know, the book shows that, like, you know, late edits made to the content because I was learning stuff about racism. And you know, I think every creative thing is also a record of like how we're learning and growing as we're creating it. Maybe I don't know if that's always true, but it's certainly true for this for me. So I don't think I have any regrets. I just have lessons, and I'm not sad to have any of those lessons. There are things I know now for the future. There you go. I'm gonna look at chat really quick, see what's here. Streamer cannot grab the book because he is wearing pants. False! I have pants. I'll grab book with pants. Okay, so there's the book, and I can talk about that in the future. Let's see what else is on here. I know. Who knew? David Dowie, great name, is asking about. Okay, this is a separate question. I'm gonna write that down, and I will come to that in the future as a next question, which is. Okay. David Dowie, I see you, and I'll get back to you. Aaron X is referencing some great third-party stuff, which is cool. Sveo, I know you, but I don't know how to say your name. SZEFO09. Zafo. I'm going to say Zafo. Says, like, you know, 2 ebooks having full stat blocks for deities, etc. Stuff, details like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, little crunchy bits that would be just like easier to make the game run on. I don't know. Talking about backgrounds are good. Same page. We all love the backgrounds. An adventure in the main book would have been great. Yep. Cool. Okay, good. So that's all that. I'm going to check Discord really quick because I feel like I saw some questions pop there. Stat blocks of other major threats. Swampy is asking. In Discord, Swampy asks, are there any plans for stat blocks of the other major threats outside the big 5 gods, or are they meant to be unique to each table? Stat blocks for major threats. Great question. We'll get to that. But first, I'm going to answer David Dowie's question. All right, cool. Just making a list, checking it twice. Okay, so David Dowie asks, I see your notes on the Sea of Stars and the Twin Worlds of Nod in the Discord. What's the next area of Planegea that you'd like to expand on or go more in depth with? I don't have one that I feel is like super missing, but I will say I have a lot of notes on specifically what is under Bitewater on the aberrant stuff down there. I'd really like to be able to do a treatment of that. I think I also have a lot of ideas for Blood Mountain, like what it's like to dwell like under the rule of 5 ancient, very ancient, super duper ancient and powerful chromatic dragons. I think there's some really cool like world building stuff to write up for that. I guess I wouldn't mind going into more detail on sort of like some more stuff on the giant empires, although what's in the book probably works for now. But I don't know, there are corners of the map I haven't like said enough about. Everstorm, I think, is like a huge corner of the map that doesn't have a lot of detail. Scarab Scar. I don't know. There's a good number of places that I would be. Oh, and then the Hallow camps, like the brother tribes. I know I have like obviously the brother tribes get a ton of attention in the book, but I think really making it concrete, like this is, I don't know, like almost giving like a little mini setting guide for each of the brother tribes. And something I really want to do that I started um, uh, drafting but didn't get all that far was seasons and how regions in the map would be different from season to season. So like I did a lot of work that I haven't shared with anybody on Lion Clan territory and sort of saying like, what is it like in the spring? What is it like in the summer? What is it like in the fall? What is it like in the winter? Um, and I did that for like a couple of different regions and thought about like, how does that affect gameplay? Why is that important in the lore? Where's the fun for that? Some really, really neat stuff that would be like super cool to explore. Yeah, and I did a big mega map. Aronnax is reminding me of Ko's his Hallow camp, which I was like working very hard on detailing. Then again, momentum kind of fell off, and so that's on pause. So I think like yeah, filling out the specific lore for some known places and then some general lore for some unknown places. I know it's a little bit vague, but those are the things that sort of pop up to mind for me. Okay, let's see. Okay, saying that Lair of the Night Thing and the Echoes are great. Good. So glad. I just want to create more adventures, and I know there's nothing stopping me except just like time and busyness and everything. But I have so many like ideas for campaigns and adventures, and I know that that would benefit like everyone who likes Planegea. So I'm hoping that at some point that could be something that rises to the top of the stack. But we'll talk more about that. Swampy asks about stat blocks for other major threats. Are there any plans for stat blocks for the major threats outside the big five gods? Or are they meant to like Duru and Verka and Deep Thought? Yes, I would just say that those would exist in adventures. So I probably would not release another setting guide with stat blocks, I don't think, unless it was like, I don't know. But I think if there's like a Duru adventure where it's like kill Duru, yeah, like he would need a stat block. That would be a big deal if you were able to do that. Okay, is that all the questions? I know I kind of answered that last one quickly, but that's my short answer. It would be in adventures. I think that's it. Feel free to ask more questions in chat or on Discord or wherever. I'm here. Let's see how much time I have left. Okay, yeah, we're doing good. So I wanted to chat about a few things. I guess I already covered Najagon Beasts, which I wanted to kind of, we could go more into that if we wanted to. But, oh, here's a question. See, I stall long enough and they pop in. Sean Kelly here in chat asks, for future books or content in the setting, is there anything specific you found that serves as an inspiration for Planegea in a big way? Like in the last year or in the future that might be coming out? Yes. Sure. Outside of what's already in the book as inspiration, which is in the back, I think that new things that have come out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of this. What is it called? The Stone Age horror movie that came out that was really, really, really good. It was like Out of the Night or like, hang on, Stone Age horror movie. Out of Darkness. Out of Darkness was fantastic. I really liked that. I think there was a lot of inspiration there. I think I've been inspired lately by, how do I say this? Like, I don't know. I think I've been thinking a lot about, I've been reading more adventures. I've been reading old school adventures. I've been reading like setting material. I've been looking at adventures that have come out. And I guess I think something that would inspire future Planegea stuff would be, now that the sort of big bones are built, how can we just make stuff that's like fun? That's just like a toy box, right? How can we build like gonzo adventures and one shot stuff that can be dropped in, and like little cool systems that you can pop in, and how can we like be inspired by cool puzzles or other games. So I think some of that stuff would inspire future material. I know it's kind of vague, but like I guess a less holistic approach and more of sort of like just going to make this specific stuff super fun and interesting. um, some of that is like I literally have been playing AAA games for the first time in my life. I've never had access. I'm on a Mac, and I've never had like a game console. I recently got a Steam Deck, so I've been playing some really great games, and I've just been thinking about that kind of game design. Baldur's Gate 3, something I did play on Mac, but just like I think playing more games, honestly, and seeing more game design is an inspiration. So you could throw Baldur's Gate 3 as inspiring on there for sure. I finally have actually played Far Cry Primal. I haven't beaten it, but I played it, so that's inspiring. So yeah, more sort of like inspiration from games as well. I think would be new. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting that would be essential. If I remember it, I'll come back to it. Those are the new media properties for me. Okay, and then I'm glad Sean Kelly says the index has been super helpful for writing, by the way. Thank you for including that. You're welcome. My pleasure. Aronax says, would new Planegea content be made for 5e or for D&D 2024? What a great question. I have no idea. Here's the answer. I think that this. Okay. I've thought about this a fair amount. My understanding is that the team led by Havoc on Discord, who is running the Patreon, is currently planning on keeping stuff 2014. So that's the short answer for that. If I haven't talked to Atlas about what would be coming out from them, but I believe that if from their business standpoint, if I was running things there, I would want new stuff to come out 2024 as soon as that is in Creative Commons, right? It seems like it would be advantageous to write for the stuff that's coming out if you're trying to kickstart it or sort of like move it into mass publication. I will also say that because the market for D&D material has become more, not fragmented, but diverse in terms of everything from like, I don't have to list it for you, Tales of the Valiant and oh my gosh, like of course I can only think of one, Advanced 5e, Level Up 5e, like all of the different 5e variations, right? Including 2024 and 2014 and all of the other guys. As well as really exciting and popular new systems like, Daggerheart or Draw Steel or Shadow Dark. There does seem to me, I'm interested in like what Planegea material can be less mechanically driven and more sort of like, if not universal, then at least translatable. Like I think a lot about Hot Springs Island and how great that is and how you don't really you can play that with any kind of system. And I do wonder about some of that. So I think for me, what I kind of am interested in is writing future Planegea stuff that is great for any system first, and then adding that layer of like 5e specificity on top. So I don't feel like for me, a lot of new Planegea stuff would be mechanical first and foremost. It would be a sort of like fun first and foremost. And then the mechanics, like here's how you do it for people who are trying to play in 5e, I guess is kind of how I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that's my best answer for that. But that's actually a good segue into something I'm thinking about, and feel free to keep on dropping in questions as we go. But speaking of 2024, I am really, and I don't have an answer to this, I'm just thinking about it. I'm really interested in the, not power creep, but the magic creep in the new edition or the new update, whatever you want to call it, in 2024, D&D 5e. and I've mentioned this on the Discord, but I've been just think there's this underlying element of all of the subclasses feel more magical. All of the player choices feel more like high fantasy, high powered. And that's not a problem for Planegea because it is a high fantasy sort of sword and it's not high fantasy. It is a high magic, lots of magic, sword and sorcery world. So that's fine, right? But I do feel like the flavor of play in the new material is going to be like different in a meaningful way. And so I feel like there's a part of me that wants to respond to that in future materials somehow. Like I think about the Spell Plague as a lore thing that happened because of a system change in D&D. And I kind of wonder at a gut level, like, would there be a cool lore event that would like just tune the magic of the world up slightly? I'm not going to do anything about this. I don't think. Like if I was writing a big campaign, which I'm not right now, like maybe I would think about something like that. But I do wonder whether having some sort of in-world adjustment to that style of play would keep it feeling really harmonious with the 2024 material. Like for example, easy example, there's a lot of psionic stuff in the new 2024 stuff. And we can talk all day long about how it's not really psionics, it's just magic with another name and blah, blah, blah. And what is psionics anyway? But the flavor is like psionics, right? They are saying in the book it is psionics. And psionics is not mentioned in Planegea as a specific thing. So like, is there a psionic event that happens in Planegea that now a lot of people are still probably a tiny number of people, but like more people have access to stuff like being like psionic casters or psionically empowered classes. It's that kind of thing. I don't know. Like again, I don't really have any big plans for any of this, but I think if I was full-time on this, if this was like my day job and I thought about this all the time instead of just at my off hours, that's something I would be thinking about a lot, is how to make the lore nimbly respond to the community. Not to the community, to the larger meta of the game, basically. Bavidowie asks, have I played Horizon Zero Dawn yet? No, it is on my list. Of course, I had a whole list, I had a whole plan, and then I got Cyberpunk 2077, and I am on my 4th playthrough of that. It just kind of owns my brain now. So that's, I may never play another game again, because I think I can only play that now, because of reasons. Okay, let's see. Some chat about mind powers in chat. It's all fun. Super agree. Like, yeah, there's stuff to explore there if we wanted to explore there. And if I was like rolling out new material and trying to stay really current, like if that was a big part of what I was doing, if I was like, yeah, there would be stuff around that, but who knows? Okay. So magic creep is one thing I want to talk about. I also want to talk about something here that distresses some of you because it's ink on a map, but I did want to talk about this guy. The right way up. This flood map. Actually, I'm quite, I can get it in the, yeah, okay. So this thing is fascinating to me. I have been tooling. Well, okay, so a couple things. One, the origin story of this is, I guess there are a couple different origin points. One of the first Planegea games we ever played was around a flood god on Undun, the water bringer, water striker. He was a crocodile god who brought a flood. It wasn't this bad, but it was a thing. Also, early days in the Discord, we talked about, I think Finn really was like championing this, like, hey, the like Krakens and Storm Giants, there should be floods coming up from down here. I was like, that's a really cool idea. I just, that sounds more like a campaign than like, what I want to do for the lore for the whole book. Obviously the the flood narrative, Gilgamesh, like there's flood stuff all in like prehistory across the world. And then the last thing is that as I looked at the map before putting all this horrible ink on it, I realized that there were really not enough good opportunities for like water stuff in Planegea. Like there's some, right? There's like there are water locations, but it's pretty much like here. If you want to go water, go down here, right? So the idea of like putting all of that in a blender and being like, what if there was a campaign or an adventure where at the start or as like the cornerstone of the campaign, the world gets flooded and it transforms the map and there becomes like an inland sea here and over here. Well, I can't see where I'm pointing. Over here and down here, right? And like, how would that adjust? How would that adjust life, right? If all of a sudden, like, you've got Bear Clan, but they're kind of also forced to be like water people. If you've got sort of like at the edge of the dire grazelands, this big sea, like what transforms here? Obviously, like have a big effect on the Cult Riverlands, but then, you know, what happens if there's water there? Why isn't there water there if there isn't? You know, does Scarabascar gets flooded? Like, I just think that there's so much interesting material here and frankly, just like fun. You know, I think a lot for maps on Planegea about verticality, like thinking about, you know, cascades, waterfalls, thinking about sort of like crossing water. Actually, Out of Darkness was something that got me thinking about this because they cross water at the start of that. And it's like a big plot point that they've come across the water. So I think there's something really cool here that I would love to explore. Again, like I have nothing in active development for Planegea. Like I'm not trying to tease you all. I'm working on other stuff at the moment. But I think that the idea of having like a profound alteration to the map that is permanent and is like, you know, welcome to post-flood Planegea and all of the changes that it wreaks would be very cool. So that is that. I'm thinking about it. Tell me what you guys think. It sounds like some exciting. I'm saying, the Cataclysm. Yes, flood map. Aranak says, how many times do we have to say please to make a campaign about a flood to be the next thing? Adam says, Planegea Water World. Aranak says, Co told me in a dream you should totally do this. So yeah, I think you all are excited about this. Like I'm excited about it. I think it would be really fun to do. Sean Kelly says, I've seen this map a few times. Reminds me of Seppuku map alts. If you happen to do writing for seasons, they'd be great to commission for alts on the base map like you get for a season or so. That'd be so cool. Yeah, seasonal maps would be awesome. Oh my gosh, Thomas Fowler says, do it. This is my favorite setting ever. Thank you for getting me back into running TTRPGs. Oh, that warms my heart. I'm so glad you like it. Thank you so much. And have fun at the table. Ariel G says, what level would you want this campaign, the Flood campaign, start and end at? I mean, I just like second and third tier. I think they're super fun. I also love fourth tier for what it's worth. I really enjoyed my time running the end of my big 1 through 20 campaign in fourth tier. It's just like a whole different kind of a thing. So when I think about writing campaigns, I imagine a optional introduction that is like 1 and 2, starting the campaign at 3 and running it through like 11, 14. I know a lot of 5e materials tend to kind of stop at that place, but I don't know. Seems like the span of the game that's most fun to write about. Look, you know, just how about we just set it up so I just write 1 for each tier, and it's just like, no, I can't. I know you will get excited if I say that, and I cannot. I'm not committing to that. Okay. Let's see. What else? Well, actually, I guess this is something I kind of wanted to ask in chat. Sean asked if the stream will be archived. Yes, unless I'm bad at YouTube. The plan is to archive this chat so you all can watch it. So if you got to go, no worries. Something I guess I was wondering for you all who are in chat here is, would you, when you think about what you'd want for Planegea, again, I am not working on anything right now, but if I was to, would you want to see what? More setting material that's kind of like game agnostic? Would you want to see more adventures? Would you want to see more player-facing stuff? I was kind of daydreaming about a Planegea player's companion, stuff that's specific for 2024, conversions to other systems, like what, and you can't say all of it. So for you, what would make an actual difference at your table, or do you think would make an actual difference to the community? Like what kind of material would you most want to improve your experience with the setting? David Dowie says some more handbook size materials to lore on different locations. That's very cool. Yeah, I could totally see that being awesome. Sean Kelly says more adventures for sure, just stuff surrounding existing content with additional notes on examples of how it could be different. Yeah, I really like that too. I think adventures often carry a lot of that stuff with them, right? You get that specificity through the adventures. So that's kind of where my gut is telling me right now. Ariel G says player's guide would be great. I would kill for expanded threats, including flood or ice ages threats. Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I'm just hearing adventure, but that's probably just because that's what I want to hear. So I'll admit bias on that. Aaron X says, I think at this point, most people would want an adventure first, but I think as a GM, it would help me. And I think as a GM, it would help me. But rules light lore would be my jam. Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, well, that's good to know. More to muse on. I'm always curious what people outside of my brain think. Nice. Okay, awesome. Well, I know. Oh, sorry. Aronax says, I specifically remember this old Ravenloft gazetteers that were made for a bunch of lore for each region. Wandering Swampy says more lore and also adventures. Yeah. Okay. Lore and adventures are what we want. That's what I want too, honestly. I think that would be super cool. So why aren't I doing that? What am I currently working on? I just feel like while we're here, I should chat about that for a minute. One thing is I am so just like embarrassingly far behind on Prismanox, which is my like setting on a poster, which then I allowed to scope creep into. I'll also do a book and I'll also do like an art poster. That's on me, and it's just been, again, that whole momentum thing. Like momentum got killed on that. It's been really hard to just finish and sort of like close the book on that. I need to do it. It is very late and very overdue, and it is owed to people. So I cannot take on any other projects until I finish up Prismanox. That is important. I have been doing some freelance RPG writing for other publishers, which I can't talk about right now because of NDAs, but I for sure will talk about when I can, but I'm very excited about it. There's also, speaking of NDAs, I had asked folks in Discord if they wanted to sign an NDA for a project I'm working on. And some people did, and then they haven't heard anything back because that project kind of hit a roadblock, but it is ramping back up now, and there is something just I think is so cool that I'm so excited to show you. It's not exactly an RPG. It's kind of its own new thing. I think it's really cool. I hope you guys will think it's cool. So there's like Prismanox, freelance, the secret project. And then I think I am really working to figure out how creative work and creative side projects fit in with the rest of life. And I know this is not a problem that's unique to me, but I'll be honest with you. I wrote Planegea like from 5 to 8 a.m. every morning, and I wasn't sleeping because I would like go to bed at like midnight or 1 and get up at 5 and I'd write. It was really bad for my health. Like I'm fine. It's all fine. And I'm not, oh yeah, Soul Spiral too. Soul Spiral's on the back burner somewhere someday. Like I am fine. It's all good, but I can't do that long term. Like I can't not sleep in general. And so something that I am working on is trying to figure out like how can I arrange my life such that I actually have time to move forward any of these million projects that we're all sort of excited about. And that's probably the biggest project, because like once I can figure out how to do that, then all the projects can happen because I figured out how to do them. Aaron Axe says, that sounds bad for your health. I work on video games. Let me tell you, crunch ain't sustainable. Exactly. Yeah. Which is why that whole momentum thing is true, right? If I'm just like grinding to get it done, then if that momentum gets interrupted, then the exhaustion sets in and it's not good. So, but I'm working on it. I think I've been having some good conversations with my wife about just like what life looks like. And I have some bad habits about like being too all or nothing. Like I'm only doing this or I'm only doing that. I'm only working or I'm only not working. And so just I am as a human trying to develop better patterns for how I spend my time in ways that like, let me rest and work and play and relate to other people in my life. And, just trying to find that balance. I know that's not unique to me. I know we're all kind of trying to do that. So that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm thinking about. And I guess the last thing is I wanted to make some recommendations of stuff I've been super into lately. So some of it I have here. Grab one. This is awesome. Monsters, Aliens, and Holes in the Ground. Such a cool book. So this is like an encyclopedia, chronological, of games from the original D&D to when's the latest one they have in here? Hang on, I'm in the appendices. Of course, there's a bunch of appendices. Zines. Morkborg is in here. Ultraviolet Grasslands, which I mentioned earlier. I guess that's the last. So 2020. So this goes from the invention of the game to 2020, and it's just like a short entry about everything. It's like really nicely laid out. It's got kick-ass art. It sort of like it's giving me a really good understanding of the decades and like how things evolved. I just think it's a great resource. Super enjoy it, super recommend it, loving it. This is not a recommendation, but I'm just going to like share because it was really exciting. I went on a trip to the Pacific Northwest because I'm down in Florida. I went up to Seattle and Portland and Washington or Olympic National Park and San Juan Islands. It was a good trip, but I was in Powell's, which is an amazing, incredible bookstore. And I was like, they sure won't have Planegea here because why would they? And I was like scanning the shelves and they had a copy. And I took it over to the guy and I was like, I wrote this. Do you want me to sign it? And they like let me sign it and then slapped a sticker on it. It's like signed by the author. Didn't ask for ID or anything. So now I'm thinking I could just go into any bookstore and just pull a book off the shelf and claim that I wrote it and sign it. And I think that could be hilarious. I would do that if I was a little bit more chaotic evil. Let's see what else. So Monsters, Aliens, Holes in the Ground, fantastic. When We Were Wizards, this podcast that you may have already heard about, but it's an oral history of Dungeons and Dragons and really the rise and fall of Gary Gygax and TSR. So good. It's so good. And it's fascinating. It's incredibly human and incredibly well produced. And I love it. I loved it so much. I cannot recommend it enough. This book, Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, The Wild and True Story of Mad Max Fury Road, another oral history, this one on paper. I think I read this in a day and then proceeded to get a line from it tattooed on me here. It is so good. This movie means a lot to me. And Fury Road, the original pitch for Planegea was Mad Max with mammoths. So you know that this is close to my heart. This is a fantastic story about art and editing and talk about killed momentum. It took like 30 years to make that movie. This is just like really, 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 really great. I want to shout out the Mastering Dungeons podcast. You probably already are listening to it. So they just certainly don't need my boost. But I think with all of this stuff going on in 2024, I've been so impressed with those two industry veterans just really taking a level, even-handed approach and explaining like, the fans all want this and get so mad about this, but like, let's look at the business. Let's think about why this is happening and sort of doing a really good job of not being pro WotC or anti WotC, but just sort of thoughtful. I think there's so much like loud discourse and so much, frankly, outrage around any change to anything that I really love how those guys think and talk through the material and the community and the business of RPGs. So continue to always just be so impressed and delighted by them. The Bear, I finally watched it. It's as good as everyone says it is. And it's this really beautiful meditation on art making, which I wasn't expecting and is having kind of a big effect on me professionally and as a creator. So I love The Bear. And then King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'm finally aboard the train. They're amazing. They're like if Radiohead was fun, and I love them so much. And they also have taken over my brain. So go listen to them. You'll love it. Watch The Bear. Listen to Mastering Dungeons. Listen to When We Were Wizards. Read Monsters, Aliens, Hole in the Ground. Have a great time. Enjoy your life. Go outside. Stay inside. Do what you want. Roll some dice. Take a nap. Drink some water. Just have a good time. I think that's all I have to say to you all. I have loved doing this. I'm officially just crossed an hour, so I think we'll go ahead and shut it down here. But this is really fun, and I would enjoy doing this again. So, I'm kind of conscious that I'm rambling for an hour and that there's not like new material to review. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. But I had a good time. I hope you did. Let's do it again. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.